My government professor struggles to maintain control over the class as everyone reacts to Victoria West's morning broadcast bombshell that she has serious charges to level against senior and student body president candidate Eleanor Prince. "You are Wildwood Hall students. I expect better from you." I strain to hear the broadcast as it continues. "Roll the tape." Seconds after Junie speaks, the feed switches from the studio to a pre-recorded video. The lighting isn't great, but it looks like one of the old classrooms in the freshman hall, one marked for renovations next month. It's empty, save for 2 students in the center of the room. From where I sit, even in the low light, they do look like Eleanor and Victoria. They face off for a moment before Eleanor shoves Victoria back. "We don't want you at this school." And then the screen goes black. Someone must have cut off the morning broadcast. For a moment, you could hear a pin drop inside my classroom, and then the room explodes with a new flurry of gossip, hot takes, and rumors. My government professor tries her hardest to reinstate some sense of order, but I think she knows there's no salvaging first period. After the bell rings and we file out of our classrooms, something strange occurs. I hear it at one end of the hallway first, a buzzing, dozens of cell phones all lighting up in a wave and cascading through the rest of the hallway. My stomach drops as I pull my phone from my pocket, a text message from an unknown number. It contains the video we all just watched on the morning broadcast, along with the words, "No one should be above Wildwood Hall's Code of Student Conduct, not even the founding families." Up ahead, I see Diane ushering Junie and Liz, the morning broadcast producer, toward the front office. She rubs her forehead, shoulders tense, as she navigates them through the crowd of students. For once, I'm glad I'm not on the broadcast team. Later that day, as I'm leaving the cafeteria after lunch, I notice a commotion in front of the auditorium. A couple dozen students, all chattering, smiles on their faces, and in the center of them all, Victoria West, head held high, standing a few inches taller than the rest of the girls around her. From over the crowd, her gaze meets mine. I catch the faintest curl of a smirk before she turns her attention back to the rest of the crowd.
"Fred?"
Carla, the security guard, appears to my right. "Carla, are you speaking to me again?"
"You haven't caused me trouble in the last week. That's more I can say for that hellion."
Carla motions toward Victoria. "I'm surprised to see her back out with the rest of the students so soon. I assumed there would be more of an investigation."
"Why do you think I'm talking to you?"
"Huh?"
"The dean wants to speak with you."
"Of course she does." As Carla and I enter the office's front lobby, Eleanor Prince and her mother, Helen, walk out of the dean's office. I don't know the parents of all the students at Wildwood, but everyone knows the Princes. They are one of Wildwood Hall's founding families, descendants of the men and women who established the school nearly 200 years ago. That history is on my mind when, to my surprise, Helen stops in front of me. "You're Maud's granddaughter, aren't you? Frederica." Yes, ma'am." Helen looks me over from head to toe. Eleanor, meanwhile, shoots me an apologetic glance.
"We should go, Mother. Dean Osborne will take care of everything."
"Mm-hmm." Helen gives me one last look before allowing her daughter to usher her out of the office. "Mr. Winter?" I spot the dean, who's finally appeared in her office door. "In my office, please." As I settle into my least favorite leather chair, I observe the dean. Underneath her perpetual layer of calm, she seems a little more harried than I'm used to seeing her. "You've had a fun morning, huh?" In response, she just stares at me. "Not much for jokes. All right." "I will cut to the chase, Mr. Winter. This morning's broadcast has left me in a difficult position." "Between Victoria West and Helen Prince? I can imagine." "Eleanor Prince maintains that there is more to what happened than what Miss West has revealed. Context that would make her actions seem less unprovoked. But But the school's security team searched Miss West's dorm room, locker, laptop, and cell phone this morning. They could only find the version of the video shared with the student body, not the original. And with the school's zero-tolerance policy for violence, that puts Eleanor in the wrong and Victoria in the right, even if her method of sharing what happened was a little aggressive. Yes, as of this afternoon, Eleanor has been suspended. And you're talking to me now because you've shown yourself to have a knack for investigating. In spite of myself, I feel a smile creep onto my face. So, you want that footage found. But with Victoria, so apparently in the right, you can't continue an official investigation without coming off as if you're giving the Prince family special treatment. That is the long and short of it, yes. What am I going to get out of it? The dean cocks an eyebrow, the most expression I've seen her use ever. I assumed the plight of an innocent student was all it took for you to jump into action. I don't trust Victoria, and Eleanor has been a model student throughout her time at Wildwood, but her presumed innocence isn't why you're asking me to take this case. Besides, my social capital took a hit a couple of weeks ago as a result of cleaning up this office's mess, and it seems as if Victoria is gaining a following. If I'm going to make even more students angry, I figure helping me out is the least you can do. The dean considers this. Very well. In exchange for looking into this matter, I will give you one favor. A favor? If you encounter a situation in which I or my office could be of help, you'll have it. Within reason, I assume. Short of covering up a murder, consider this favor unconditional. Regardless of whether I find this footage, there's a possibility Victoria's already deleted it, or that it never existed at all. If I determine appropriate effort has been made, then yes. The wheels in my head turn. A favor? Would it be worth the effort? I've never found myself wishing I had the help of admin in past investigations, but Dean Osborne has shown more of a willingness to hear me out than Dean Blackstone ever did. Maybe I could find a use for this favor. One day. Deal. Very well. Do you know where you will begin your investigation? I think through what I know about this case. The election, the broadcast, the footage. My stomach sinks. Yeah, I have an idea. A few months ago, I slept until noon on Saturdays. I was always up late during the week, preparing for morning broadcasts and completing assignments last minute. I needed the weekends to catch up on sleep. But then, those dreams set in a month and a half ago, and I've been an early riser ever since. It's annoying, but it does open up new opportunities for investigating on Saturday mornings. I grab some bagels and cream cheese from the cafeteria and walk them over to a space I'm technically banned from, the broadcast room. It's empty, save for Devon, hard at work in one corner, surrounded by cameras and gear. She looks up and gives me a dry smile. Uh-oh. What uh-oh? This isn't uh-oh. This is just one friend bringing another friend breakfast because she assumes her friend had a long day yesterday. I set the plate of bagels down on the table where Devon's working. She doesn't even look away from her gear as she grabs one and takes a bite. How is everyone? I saw Liz and Junie get pulled into the administration office yesterday. The whole thing's a mess. Liz and Junie were responsible for vetting Victoria and her story, so they're in trouble for letting the broadcast go off the rails. But this combined with your... Devon gives me a look and chooses her words carefully. Special report 2 weeks ago? I get the sense admin is questioning whether the morning broadcast is still of value to the school. I feel a pang of guilt in my stomach. When I commandeered the morning broadcast to report on the school vandalism, I assumed I would be the only one who experienced blowback. So many other students work so hard to make the broadcast happen. I'd hate if my actions hurt them in the process. Who pulled the plug on the broadcast? I got to it first, but Diane was right on my heels. I don't think the freshman man in the video switcher knew what was happening until it was too late. Surely your quick thinking counts for something with admin. Yeah, we'll see. Devin wipes some bagel crumbs from her hands and then continues with the camera gear. She's one of the most go-with-the-flow people I know, but I can tell this situation has her off balance. About that clip. Did either Junie or Liz know about its contents ahead of time? Had they seen it? I don't see Liz going for that kind of stunt. But Junie, she's playing dumb, but I think she knew. She'd been looking for the opportunity to break a big story, and Eleanor Prince threatening another student probably seemed too good an opportunity to pass up. It's a big story. Any idea where Victoria got her camera? Devin pauses, then eyes me as she sets down half a bagel. You know, I assumed you were here to work your way back onto the broadcast team, but that's not it, is it? You're investigating. Just a little bit. And I don't want to cause you trouble. But based on what I know, it's possible Victoria didn't record the video on her cell phone. And I only know of one student at this school who rents out cameras. Devin considers my words, then relents. Yeah, she rented one of my cameras a couple of weeks ago. Has she returned it? Devin shakes her head. No, she's past due, actually. Seems a little ironic, considering what a proponent she is for following the rules and holding one another to a higher standard. What kind of camera was it? An old camcorder, just a little guy, about the size of a soda can. Say I wanted to get the original file of the confrontation between Eleanor and Victoria off that camcorder. What are the chances the footage is still on there? Decent, I'd guess. Victoria isn't especially tech-savvy. I had to walk her through basic settings and how to transfer the footage she records to a computer. I showed her how to delete footage, but I doubt she knows that deleted footage is recoverable for the next 7 days. This is helpful. Thank you, Devin. Yeah, now leave me alone, and leave the bagels. I chuckle, and leave Devin with her gear. I'm deep in thought as I leave the broadcast room. Where is Victoria keeping Devin's camera? And if she deleted the footage of what went down between her and Eleanor, how many days do I have before the footage is permanently wiped? These are the questions I'm asking as I walk through the door, and nearly walk into Diane. I see several thoughts flit across her eyes in an instant. I believe you're banned from this room, Fred. Sorry about that. I just wanted to check on Devin. Diane's eyes narrow. Fred, I've known you for a long time. You never have just one plan in motion. So why are you here? I keep a smile to myself. I pride myself on how well I know the students and faculty at Wildwood, but I'm not so adept at opening up to others. Diane, though, I've spent enough time around her. She has my number more than most. I glance around the hall, wanting to ensure no one's lurking around any corners. The dean asked me to find the original video file that Victoria sent to the student body. Again, a mix of thoughts and emotions pass across Diane's face. This time, I even catch a hint of concern. Fred, it's inappropriate for the administration to task a student with a responsibility like this. I've been getting myself involved in situations above my pay grade since I joined the broadcast team. I don't see this investigation as being that different from any of the investigations you assigned me. Diane doesn't protest this reasoning, but she doesn't seem convinced either. Osborne seems different, doesn't she? This gives me pause. It's the first time I've heard someone else voice it, that change in behavior I noticed in Ingrid Osborne a couple of weeks ago. She's, I don't know, more willing to hear people out? She was Blackstone's enforcer for so long. I don't know where the change has come from. Maybe Blackstone's firing was enough to prompt her change. I shrug, but I know that's not true. I saw this change in the dean when I was still investigating B's case, before Blackstone had even been fired. Do you think you can keep yourself from getting in over your head? I grin. Probably not, but I think I do some of my best work when I'm in over my head. Diane does not look reassured. Watch out for Victoria. I didn't have to deal with her myself, but after talking with Junie and Liz yesterday, She seems like trouble. I'll need to track her down first. I'm not as familiar with her patterns and hangouts as I am with other students at school. Diane sighs, the furrow between her brows deepening. I believe Victoria likes to meet with her friends at the diner. At least, I know she invited Junie and Liz to join her there last week to see what her campaign is all about. The diner? Oh, okay. Thanks, Diane. That's the best lead I have so far. Diane regards me for a long moment, and then she says, I will never approve of how you handled the situation with B. But, looking back, I realize there are ways I could have handled the situation better too. And I'm sorry for that. Thanks, Diane. And with that, she turns and heads inside the broadcast room. As I've mentioned in the past, Wildwood Hall is mostly in the middle of nowhere. Ravenswood Hall is a half-mile down the road, and Camp Meriden is a 5-minute drive away. But if you're a student looking for a place to hang out, there's really only one option. Riverview Square, a strip mall off I-70. Students don't give most of the restaurants and shops at Riverview the time of day, but Eddie's Diner has become a go-to place for students looking for some space, and it's easily reachable by bicycle. I don't go there often myself, but when I was on the broadcast team, students would sometimes request to meet there for pre-interviews. Still, it's been a few months since I aired up the tires on my bike and made the trip. It's an unseasonably warm fall evening as I begin my ride over, the kind of weather that will likely attract a crowd of students to the diner on a Saturday night. I spot a few students on their bikes ahead of me as I pass my first mile. To my right, I note a gated neighborhood boasting several large houses, their lights twinkling in the low evening light. This neighborhood is home to many influential Wildwood and Ravenswood families. Founding families, lifers, people whose lives revolve around these two schools. Between trees on the far side of the neighborhood, I spot the Prince family, mansion, I guess? It towers over the woods surrounding the neighborhood. I wonder how Eleanor, one of the most upstanding students at Wildwood, has been handling the events of the last 2 days. The parking lot at Riverview Square is packed, filled with bicycles and a handful of student vehicles. It takes some searching to find a place to lock my bike. I catch a few glances from students hanging outside, regarding me warily. I take a deep breath, preparing myself for whatever or whomever I'll encounter inside, and walk through the front door of Eddie's Diner. The sounds of the jukebox hit me immediately, followed by the smell of French toast, bacon, and waffles. The booths around the perimeter of the diner are all full, and there are just a couple of empty seats at the counter. More students enter behind me, squeezing into booths where they can make room. I look around, getting my bearings and searching for Victoria, when I spot a pair of familiar eyes looking back at me from one corner of the diner. It's River, sitting opposite a girl. I can't read his expression exactly, but suffice it to say, he doesn't seem pleased to see me. Still, that doesn't stop my curiosity from getting the best of me. I walk over to his booth, watching as he puts on his best attempt at a smiling face. What do we have here? Fred. I glance over at the girl sitting across from River. She's in my class. Teresa Teagerton, the younger sister of Tessa, my art professor. They're cut from the same cloth, but Teresa doesn't frustrate me as much as her older sister does. Frederica. Hi, Teresa. I didn't know you knew River. In spite of River and I meeting up multiple times a week to trade information, I'd guess most of the student body doesn't know that we know each other. I didn't know you knew River either. How long has this been going on? I motioned to the two of them, knowing just how much River loved it when Piper did something similar on our way to Camp Meriden the other day. I see one of River's eyes twitch. My cousin attends Ravenswood and has been trying to set us up since last semester. When River reached out yesterday, I couldn't turn down the opportunity. Yesterday, huh? I look at River. He's maintaining his smile, but he looks like he'd rather be anywhere else. I'm not sure what his angle is here. This could be a legitimate date, but in the 2 years I've known him, he's never mentioned dating anyone. Or he could be working a story. But if he were, he'd be encroaching on my territory, which could explain his reaction to seeing me here. I hope you both have the best time. I hear the pecan pie is amazing this time of year. As I grin and make my exit, Teresa smiles and River just looks relieved. Back toward the front door, I take another look around the diner. The counter blocks one corner of the room, but I hear some commotion coming from that direction. Taking a few steps toward the noise, I finally spot Victoria, sitting in one of the larger booths. She's surrounded by a dozen students, all of them hanging on her every word. I move to approach when the bell over the front door rings behind me. Just over my shoulder, I hear, "Oh, you've got to be kidding me." Ahead of me, I spot River, eyes fixed on the person behind me. I turn around and look up, and there's Siobhan Mahoney, the captain of Wildwood Hall's softball team. You know, the team I was responsible for benching for the gallery vandalism. She looks down at me with contempt and punches a fist into her other hand. "I've got a few things to say to you. It's time for you and me to talk." Thanks for listening to Episode 3, Part 1 of Strange Tales. Strange Tales is written, performed, and edited by Laura Ketchum. The song Leaving Home was sourced from Incompetech.com. The Creative Commons license can be found in the show notes. All other songs and sound effects were sourced from Descript. Subscribe to be the first to know about Fred's upcoming adventures.